I can say way back at the beginning, there's one coach truly that she comes to mind because she was way back at the beginning, and it's kind of like the ones who have really the greatest impact. And she was one of those who did. She's not doing as much of the coaching part. She's doing more funnels and things these days, but she was doing a bit of like women's empowerment coaching as well as the business component to that to help me.
Welcome to Career Coaching Secrets, the podcast where we talk with successful career coaches on how they built their success and the hard lessons they learned along the way. My name is Davis Nguyen, and I'm the founder of Purple Circle, where we help career coaches scale their business to $100,000 years, $100,000 months, and even $100,000 weeks. Before Purple Circle, I've grown several 7- and 8-figure career coaching businesses myself, and have been a consultant at 2 career coaching businesses that are doing over $100 million each. Whether you're an established coach or building your practice for the first time, you'll discover the secrets to elevating your coaching business.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Career Coaching Secrets podcast. I'm your host Rexhen, and we're back today at Career Coaching Secrets. Today's guest is someone who has turned personal pain into powerful purpose. Meet Rachelle Richard, an intuitive healing self-love empowerment coach and the founder of Empowerment Experiences. From navigating deep personal struggles to now helping women reclaim their inner power, Rachelle has developed her own unique approach called the Pegasus Perspective of Power method, guiding others from feeling powerless to becoming truly powerful. In this episode, we'll dive into her transformative journey, the moment she said, "I'm done," and how she built a coaching business rooted in clarity, confidence, and divine purpose. And it's a pleasure for me to have her on the podcast today. Welcome to the show, Rachelle.
Thank you, Rexhen, and thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here and have this chat with you.
I'm excited to have you on. So I want to learn a little bit more from what inspired you to become a coach and start your own coaching business?
Well, do you have, 5 years? No, actually, it obviously it came from my own personal journey. My tagline, you could say personally, is I'm a former pimped out, drug addicted prostitute turned self-love empowerment coach. And that is something that it stems all the way back from growing up, being told I was a mistake, being bullied, like literally developing a lifetime of self-loathing. And I used to believe that I deserved all these horrible things that were happening to me while I was being assaulted. I don't know what words I'm allowed to use since we have a lot of censorship these days, but I openly speak about my past because we can't overcome and transcend and integrate those lessons if we're afraid of those words. And that's one of my biggest things is words have power. So that was what my journey was going from, again, unpopular, bullied throughout high school into college and getting in the dating game, and that wreaking havoc on my self-worth. And that by the time I was 22, I moved out to Arizona from Kansas with the full intention to become an escort. And I did that. And that, of course, path led me to meeting not the right people and getting caught up in a drug addiction and with, again, the drug dealer pimp and having arrests, been in jail. By the time I got out of that in my late 20s, I still hadn't found what I was looking for, you could say. And I ended up having a meltdown by my early 30s, PTSD, all of that trauma caught up to me. And it was about that time in my mid 30s when I finally was like, none of this is working. And something has to give because otherwise I definitely don't want to stay here if it's going to keep being this way. And so I, like I said, spent a lot of my life being not eager to be in this world. Let's say that, feeling like the world was against me and I wasn't wanted, I wasn't loved. Again, the very root of self-worth. And that's when it, like I said, it finally reached that point where having an attempt on my life, myself, I was like, and then getting in the medication that they gave me, none of that helped. It actually sent me over the edge again. So again, it all comes down to recognizing I was giving my power away. And that's what it was, finally realizing. I can't say there was a single moment. It was definitely a culmination of all of that to where something has to give and you just finally throw your hands up and recognized that I had to figure something out. I had to figure out and do something different. And it was in my late 30s, and that's when I actually had been listening to some motivational speeches that were actually a little too much. And I ended up they led me to a woman who did guided meditation. And like the turning point. That was actually the turning point for starting to incorporate all of these practices and modalities that I now do and teach clients to do, because they changed my life. You
Mm-hmm.
know, the meditation, starting to do that is what then led to getting into the oracle cards that I do as well, because that told me to meditate. My very first card. That's a whole story too of what led me to get into those. I'm not sure how much time, because again, I can talk, but that's the thing is, once I started to connect those dots, that everything is connected, and you can start to go, well, how can I actually change this to be something that's beneficial to me? How can I grow from this? How can I let this lift me up instead of tear me down, as so much of my life was? I feel like I'm kind of all over the place because there's so much.
There's a lot, and
Right?
that is a very powerful transformation indeed. I'm excited for many people who will get to work with you and experience the same transformation as you did. So right now we're full of energy. So how does, like, what would you say is the part of your coaching journey that you find most rewarding since you started doing this thing, coaching other people?
In the now 6 years, 7 years has it been since I formed Empowerment Experiences? The greatest reward is when I get to, there's two things. One, when I get to see that light bulb moment in my clients' faces to realize that, oh my God, because so often it's something so simple. And I tell all my clients, my audience, that I will never tell you something is easy when I know it's not. I am not her, but I will tell you it's simple, because it is. Doesn't mean it's easy, but it's simple. And once that clicks, boom. And then the second thing is just hearing the impact when I have clients that even come back into my sphere and say, I am so grateful for you. This last year, all of these things have happened. Like I have goosebumps, and it's not cold in my house. It's just all of these changes. So much amazing has happened in my life since meeting you. You know, you may not see for me, but I promise you, people are going to know about you. And I'm just that. There is no greater reward for me than knowing that, number one, I proved my mother wrong, being a mistake, that no, I am supposed to be here, and I am here to create great change in people's lives. And I want to have that impact, and I want other people who I have the impact on to know that they have the same, just by showing up in this world who they are.
And the amount of impact, especially not just for that person you're working with, but everyone around that person, is huge. So yeah, that is amazing. So typically, who do you work with, or like the target audience that typically works with you? Are they like a specific demographic or a specific niche that you typically find yourself working with, or is it broad? It doesn't really matter.
It, I honestly can say it depends on context. When I'm online in my primary realm, my website, what I have focused on, especially in the past, has been women. And whenever I would work with coaches and they go, oh, but you need an age group, or like a Facebook ads person, you need this age. I go, you don't understand. I'm working with women who are in their 20s, and I have clients who are in their 60s. Do not force me to cut out when I obviously speak to all of them. Now I lost, oh, the context. Yes. So women. But then the other experience that I've had is when I've done in-person events. So again, my primary presence is online. I know I'm global. I know I'm supposed to be bringing that connection more and more to all of us globally. But I have also had the wonderful privilege and honor of, when I've done some in-person events, done card readings, which I love doing those as well, just fun, get to make those fun connections. And I had the privilege of working with a few gentlemen, and I really loved that honor as well. The biggest reason why online I tend to stick to more women-only spaces is because some of the women, even myself, right? We have a history of trauma. And so there's a lot to work through, and women tend to need their own safe containers just as men need theirs. And I actually have a soul family, a couple that I partner with who coach men. So I now am very blessed that if gentlemen who meet with me first and then want to pursue deeper work, I do have partners that I can refer them to as well. So we're covering all of humanity, Rexhen, all of them.
Cool. Awesome. I love that. And yeah, you definitely don't have to niche down to age by any means. When that is actually the audience that you serve, it doesn't really have anything to do with age. So, where do clients find you, or where do you find clients in terms of marketing? What is working for you?
Online, obviously, is my main. Being that my campaigning, my strategy, that's why I loved your intro and things like that, and having this chance to sit and speak with you is because that also helps me to find more of my power, right? That's what we're all about, finding our power, and really honing in, what my campaigns are, what I'm looking at promoting and moving forward, because as much as I want to do it all, I can't do it all. As much as I want to help everybody, I can't help everybody. So and that kind of got me off on a little tangent there a little bit. So could you
So, when you say online, is there a specific like channel or?
TikTok honestly is my main one, because that the reach, the engagement, it's unparalleled to any other platform that I've had. I have not worked a lot on LinkedIn just yet, but I've set myself up, like I said, that's where we met, to be pursuing that platform, because it is a different beast than all the others. But again, my main one's been TikTok, just because of how big of a reach I can get when I'm doing my live streaming, just my posts. It's a lot of the other, and I'm on Instagram, Facebook. I'm like a ghost on there. I only really at this point on Facebook because you're forced because of Instagram. I'm more Instagram, TikTok, and I'm going to be working on LinkedIn. I'm also on YouTube, but that's where my primary is. TikTok has been probably more my biggest one. Well, TikTok and Instagram. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so TikTok is the main thing, and that's where the majority of the audience is also that wants to work with is there. Yeah, I can see basically maybe LinkedIn is also good for reaching out to those professionals that need that help as well.
Yeah.
So amazing. So what are some goals that you're working towards with your coaching business right now? You did mention early on when we started the call that you're working on an offer, optimizing an offer, but feel free to share some more for that.
Sure. Since again, uh, there's so many things that I've had going on, and I am that person where when ideas come, I want to build on that. I want to do that. And so that's kind of fed into why I had to take a break, because too much, too much, too much. So really streamlining more and more, and realizing that my number one goal, now that I'm coming really back full force, is to create a much better foundation of boundaries for myself so that I can serve my audience in the way that I know I'm supposed to. And that is in the way of taking some of my programs, my group experiences that I've had before, and allowing myself to be divinely led to create them in a way that I can still provide the support that they need, but in a structure that benefits everybody in a much better way, without my feeling drained 3 or 4 months into the process, that we all just keep climbing and up. And as well, it's to create a sustainable kind of system
Mhm.
presence, to fulfill my purpose here, because obviously I didn't go through all that shit for nothing. Definitely here to create great change in the world. And I do want to say that when I was a little girl, one of the very first sentence that I had formed was that I'm here to help save the world.
Amazing. And you are already doing that. Great
So
mission.
yeah.
Couldn't be better than that. So, in terms of investments, just talking business, you did mention a coach or something like that when you were talking earlier. What have been some investments in your coaching business that you feel that actually have made a good difference in actually growing your coaching business? What are some investments like that, either coaching programs, masterminds, or communities that you feel have been making a positive impact in growing your coaching business?
I can say way back at the beginning, there's one coach truly that she comes to mind because she was way back at the beginning, and it's kind of like the ones who have really the greatest impact. And she was one of those who did. She's not doing as much of the coaching part. She's doing more funnels and things these days, but she was doing a bit of like women's empowerment coaching as well as the business component to that to help me, kind of get my message and show up and those sorts of things. And she definitely created for me being new to it, she was such an amazing impact for me. And I still carry that experience with her with me so that I'm able to then go, I want to make sure that my clients continue to think of me in that way years down the line and are just, again, grateful that I was in their lives and had the
Hmm.
effect that I did. So that's the biggest one.
And besides that, over time now, lately, has there been any other investments that you made?
Not most recently. I did invest in a couple different marketing coaches for like Facebook ads and things like that. That was interesting. Um, but so I hesitate in areas like that, but I definitely am open to, it just depends on what exactly I'm looking for. And being a clarity queen, in essence, wanting to be crystal clear, I've learned that sometimes through some of those experiences in the past that I wasn't super happy with, it's because I wasn't where I should have been in the respect to that wasn't what I was really looking for.
Or you weren't their target audience in a way? Yeah.
Exactly. Like there was some part of it and then it just we didn't fully click, in
Hmm.
terms of creating the results because energy is big. Having the rapport and being able to bounce that and have that shared experience is very, very, very important for creating the results that we want. So,
What would you say like is the biggest challenge right now in in your coaching business that you're trying to solve for?
biggest challenge for myself or just in general in
From
the
the coaching business perspective, so from your business perspective, even from yourself, depends on how you
from
see it. Yeah.
the greatest challenge that I am looking to solve. Well, I'm actually kind of drawing a blank on that.
Not a bad thing.
Right? I'm like, I feel like right now, I think honestly, why it's kind of drawing a blank is because the challenges that I've been having crop up, I am already walking through those kind
Hmm.
of thing. And maybe that's it. That doesn't mean, in 5 minutes there won't be another one that pops up because that's this journey. But I think truly one of the greatest challenges just period in this coaching realm is sustaining and maintaining my own self-development and growth and expansion while also simultaneously sustaining and maintaining the growth and development of my business while also simultaneously sustaining and maintaining the growth in my clients that I'm working with. So that's definitely a challenge to
And
maintain balance and such in that.
and just for the audience, to get some more details around the programs that you work with, because we talked about the audience of who you work with, but I also wanted to make sure we cover also how your programs work and how you help these people transform their lives.
I'm
So how
okay.
do how do these programs how do you describe your programs?
A lot of my programs are rooted in the space of from chaos to calm kind of thing, chaos to clarity. We live in an overstimulated world and you cannot feel empowered. You don't feel like you have any power over anything when there's just chaos all around you. And that's why I say self-love empowerment, but that's all encompassing. It's all the facets and aspects of you, which we are multidimensional, we're many layered, it's the joy of figuring all this out for ourselves and getting to know that for ourselves. But ultimately, that's what I love to do, and that's my ultimate intention here is just to assist humanity with getting out from underneath all of this. And there's a word I'd like to use that I call it sense enhancers, but they're not proper words, so I'll be a good girl. But all the garbage of the world that's been just placed upon all of us, and it's just and leaving us feeling so powerless that
Hmm.
it really all of my courses that I do have, all of the group programs, any of my one-on-ones, the every part of it, whatever perspective, because it's about the Pegasus perspective, whatever process therein, it's about looking for your power in that space, finding where that power is, and then taking that power back. And that's why I start people off with that, the Pegasus perspective, pain to power. It's a free download that they can actually get from me, where it's just download, and it just starts training your mind for how to shift your perspective from one of disempowerment to one of empowerment. Because as a Pegasus, this is where the Pegasus perspective comes from. A Pegasus, which I believe they are very real, but the horse, the Pegasus, the horse aspect of the Pegasus is on the ground. You're in it. You're in the chaos. You're in the storm, the eye of the storm, all of that. And you can't quite see what you need to see, but you have the power to rise up and create in your own mind a broader perspective, to see things from countless other perspectives, whether it's hooves on the ground in the middle of it or up in the air, and you have this whole broad perspective and you can see exactly where your power is.
Just like you said, it's simple, but also hard. It's simple, but doesn't mean that it's easy.
That's it. I was going to say, I don't do hard. That's another tip that I would love to share. See, we change because words have power, right? So we don't use the words hard, difficult, or struggle. That I don't allow those words when I speak with clients, because they all can be replaced with one word that's empowering. And that word is challenge or challenging. And a challenge is an opportunity for growth. So it's challenging instead of hard. It's challenging instead of difficult, or challenge instead of it's a struggle.
Absolutely. Thanks for sharing that. And this has been lovely, but is there any final advice you'd like to give to other coaches just like yourself who are looking to scale their impact? What would that advice be for those who are looking to scale further their impact?
I love this question because it's a coach who hasn't truly scaled. And like we said at the beginning, some want to, some don't, and all such things. I actually put a little note on this where it's that you, number one, listen to people who are where you want to be. That is so big. And we hear this all the time, especially in the coaching realm. You have to take advice from people who are where you want to be. And as fun as it is to go around asking all your friends or other coaches who aren't where you are or in your realm, you're going to get the results of where they are. So that's the biggest thing. As someone who hasn't scaled, and who, if I were stepping into that, you better believe that's where I'd be going, is to a pro who's done it.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Rachelle. For anyone who wants to connect with you or find you, number one place would be TikTok, just like you mentioned. They will just search your name there, or is there a different name brand?
I have a handle. I actually am using Healing Twin Flames is my main account. I actually have a couple accounts on there. My website is empowermentexperiences.com. And that's where you can access all of my links. All the information is there. I'm also on YouTube. The YouTube is Empowerment, because Empowerment Experiences wouldn't fit on the TikTok handle, so I couldn't do the whole handle.
Oh, I see.
That's why.
Sense.
Yeah.
And of course, then also LinkedIn would be Rachelle Richard there. You can follow also there. They'll find your website in it and any contact information so that they can reach out to you. So thank you so much, Rachelle. And yeah, this was lovely. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rexhen. I agree.
That's it for this episode of Career Coaching Secrets. If you enjoyed this conversation, you can subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you're listening to this episode to catch future episodes. This podcast was brought to you by Purple Circle, where we help career coaches scale their business to $100,000 years, $100,000 months, or even $100,000 weeks, all without burning out and making sure that you're making the impact and having the life that you want. To learn more about our community and how we can help you, visit joinpurplecircle.com.